Well, here's the best of 2023 as the ridge turns. Well, welcome, friends. Where's another year gone to? Now, here's a view with the drone back in the spring, showing you that this is the foothills of the Smokies. And this is the ridge where all these little animals run around. And it's a long ridge. And you can see this is the foothills of the Smokies. On the north side of the Smoky Mountains. And it's a vast country, I'm telling you. But hope y'all doing well. Had a good holiday. And this is winter from last year. We'll just look through the weather from last year. What she looked like. This is what the old ridge looked like last January, a year ago. Never had no big snows this year, but we did have some real bad cold spells. Just little old light snows. But spring, beautiful spring. My favorite time of the year. And it's beautiful here on the ridge. Everything's new and sprouting out. Beautiful time. And then it turns into summer. Busy, hot, lazy days of summer. That's when all the snakes and ticks is out. And here's what the old pond looked like during the summer. But it don't last forever. Here's fall. Had a real dry spell for 3 months. Pond went dry. And here's what the woods look like in the fall, so dry with no water. Didn't have the colorful fall that we usually do. Been a real fire hazard. But here's what it looks like now. The rain has come back, but the leaves just like they died on the trees and they're hard to come off. But they're going away. The old pond, she's got water in her again. She's coming back up. But anyway, here's the best of 2023 as the ridge turn starts. So hope you enjoy. Now we'll start out alphabetically. A lot of people ask me, Donnie, you got any bears on that ridge? Yes, we have bears here. And there's a lot of bears in the area. But they're not really here. They just passed through. I didn't catch one on camera this year, but I'm sure they passed through. I just didn't catch one on camera. So these are pictures from a year ago, some stills. They are here, but there's nothing here to hold them here, so they just moved through. And no, there is no wild hogs and wild boar here. They're a ways from here, but they are here, but not in this area. Next up is birds. This includes owls, woodpeckers, all the winged little animals. Here's a little blue jay. Filmed a lot of them. There's so many of them I've filmed. I've just picked out a few of the best. And there's a little mourning dove out poking around. And there's a little female cardinal. And there's a male. Ain't it beautiful? Beautiful birds. Now here's a little wood thrush. They come in mid-April and they leave in late August. But they're the most beautifulest sounding bird in the woods, in my opinion. They answer themselves. And you can hear one here. Ain't it beautiful? He's on Ricky's perch at the rock. Here's a little beautiful wren. They're beautiful sound birds too. And the little woodpeckers, a downy woodpecker. And there's them red-headed or white-chested little woodpeckers. They're noisy little birds, but they're beautiful. And here's a flicker, northern flicker woodpecker. They're downy again. They're beautiful little birds. All sorts of little woodpeckers. Now here's the most rarest one. This is the best I've ever got, but it's the old play-headed woodpecker. And I filmed some hawks too. This is just the best of what I have got. Down at the pond. That looks like a Cooper's hawk to me. But it could be an old red-tailed hawk. But at night, I filmed some nice little owls out in the woods, hereabouts. Rare to catch a picture of these. You hear them in the videos all the time, but you don't see them often. They're hard to film. Little screech owl here. Got a few good pictures of it. Beautiful little bird. And the old great horned owl, we call them hoot owls. And they're big. They stand almost 2 foot tall. The grown ones do. And they like it, and they're down here in these cedars eating all these katydids and stuff. They just run back and forth. It's hard to get a picture of them. They're here, and then they're gone. Silent. Here's one calling its young. He ain't hooting, it's calling its young. Training. Some of these are rare pictures for me anyway. Well, there you go. There's the birds. Next up, another rarity. The bobcat. They are even rarer. You film them, and then you don't. Like here, you see them, then you don't. They're gone. They are elusive and silent. But they travel around during the day here and there. What pictures I can catch of them on these cameras. And they're beautiful little cats, ain't they? And they're stealthy too. But they mostly travel in the evenings and at night. They are stealthy. And they travel these trails just like the other animals. This is their home. They mosey through these woods all night long. You just liable to see them anywhere. But they're mostly at night. They're silent hunters, I'm telling you. Even at the rock. And they travel these ridges. Now you see them, now you don't. Well, there's the bobcats. They're real elusive. Next up, the old coyote. He can be a big menace in himself, but they're part of these woods now too, so we just have to accept them. And they can be a menace on these little animals. But at least they're afraid of man. And they travel during the day too. You can see them any hours, any time of the day or night. Down here at the pond. They're really dangerous when they're hunting packs, these little animals. And here's what they think of my cameras. Yeah, I see you. That's what you think of it, ain't it? But they like to travel around, follow these little animals around. If they find something weak or hurt or vulnerable, they'll take advantage of it. And they can be hard on you pets too, if you have them out, let them run around. They don't care. They're out to eat. And they're not picky at what they eat either. But they can be comical. They don't like them cameras. And they just prowl around all the time. Anywhere at any time. Even at the rock. So there's the coyote. Old Charlie, I call it. Well, next up's the deer. White-tailed deer. That includes the fawns, the does, and the bucks. I have so many pictures of them, but there's nothing sweeter than these little fawns. Around here, in these foothills, the fawns are born around the 1st of June, sometimes a little later, maybe just a few days before. But this is the time of the year, and they're so beautiful, so precious, so vulnerable. It's just so precious to see them. Ain't they beautiful? Always trying to keep up with Mom. This is their most vulnerable time of their life, their first month. But pretty soon they get big enough they can run. And within 3 or 4 months, they're full grown. By fall, they're losing their spots. They're gone. But ain't they precious? And they get curious too. They get braver as they get older. But Mom ain't far away. Even at the rock. They're curious too. Exploring their new world. Here's a rare glimpse of triplets. 2 years in a row now I've filmed triplets. And they're curious about these cameras too, but they grow up with them. And the does run around in these little herds. They stay to themselves. The doe do. They run around in their own little group. But the bucks do too, the bachelor group. They kind of hang to themselves. Until that time comes they start chasing these does, they kind of fight between each other. I caught a few glimpses of them playing or practicing. but I haven't caught a really long, drag-out fight. But I know they do it. Who's the dominant buck? This is just what I've caught on the camera. And I catch them up close too sometimes, picking at these acorns. I mean really close. That one's got leaves on his antlers, ain't he? And here's one that looked like he'd come out of a field and got burrs on him. But he don't care. And there's some nice ones here on these foggy mornings, easing through this ridge. I mean some monsters. Yeah, they ain't no 24 point, weird ones. These are just standard white-tailed deer. And there's some pretty nice ones here too. And some of them's got some nice racks on them. But I've got so many pictures of these deers, I just picked out a few this year of what I've took so much this year of these animals. Hope you enjoy them. That's a big one right there. And they eat mostly acorns and leaves, but they'll eat mushrooms too. They know what to eat though, that's for sure. And they just prowl this ridge. They live here too. This is their domain. So there you go. There's the deer. Well, the next up is the feral cats. There's all kinds of old cats on this ridge at one time, but there's just a few left. Here's one that don't see very often anymore, but it does surprise me. I thought it was gone. That's old Socks. But here's the favorite on this ridge. He's been here for 2 years now. Old Yeller. You can see he's only got one eye. Thinks he's a bobcat. And he's a regular on this ridge. We've grown to love him. Even he's been here 2 years now, even in the snow last year. But you can see, getting old. But he's a good one. He just lays here. I've tried everywhere in the world to get this cat, catch it, take it home, but he won't have that. No way. There's a good picture of that one eye. He had an eye when he first come in here, but one of these animals, I guess, scratched it out or something. And there's old Socks again, a rare picture back in the summer. Got a little field mouse, little mouse playing with it. Just set it down, just play it. Now here's the old git cat. This is another one that we don't see anymore. And what do you mean by git cat? Right here's an old picture of it. See, it don't on its side says git, the word git on its fur. What about that? The old git cat. That's how we got that name. But old Yeller's the favorite. He's a regular on the show, on this ridge, and you're liable to see him anywhere, night or day. But he likes to aggravate Dirty Dan, don't he? Always coming up there and marking his spot on Dirty Dan's rock. But that's just his business. So there's the feral cat. Next up, the fox. These are beautiful little foxes. There's a mating pair in here, and they're beautiful. You mostly see them at night times when I film them, but I have filmed them during the year, during the day. Here's some day pictures of them. I call this pair Freddie and Betty. I can't distinguish which one's which though when they're together, Betty or Freddie, I don't know. Here it is at the pond. These are gray foxes. But there is a red fox in this ridge, but I've not filmed him in the daytime. No Fred or Betty. They like these treats too. They're always coming and going, just like the rest of the animals, trying to make a living. Now here they are running together. Now I know they had some pups back in the spring because I heard them yelling at them, but I've never filmed them. They never get around the camera, and they like to stop by the rock. They're a regular. And when they had the Christmas party, they just took them home with them. They didn't want to share with them coons. Well, they're a beautiful little pair, the fox. So there you go on the best of the foxes. And my favorite, the groundhog. Some people call them woodchucks, but here in these mountains in the south, we call them groundhogs. And old Dirty Dan here is the one I'm talking about. He's comical in himself. And he likes the camera. I always got time to say hi. He's a character. Like I said, he's always got time to say hi. Always coming and going from the rock. He's out fattening up on these acres because he's right now in the process of a long nap. But he comes and goes all the time, but always has to say hi. He's so comical to me. And here's Mrs. Dirty Dan. They're out for a stroll. This is early in the year. They kind of fuss a little bit. Here you can hear the sound of them. Kind of fussing a little bit. But they go back and forth out on the stroll. But they come in fussing every once in a while. I don't. That's just them, like an old married couple. Still fussing. I thought that was comical. And old Dirty Dan, he kind of got a hurt feelings here. He has to lay down. But he's up to working, back to doing some housework. Getting some leaves, making bedding material. Now here's a rouse sound of it calling for their mate. I thought that was awful rare. But that's why they call them whistle pigs too. But they make up. They make up and they back out on them, making their rounds again. And old Dirty Dan's back to making his bed again. This is their home. They made this. But they share this rock with possums, skunks, even Coons is under there. They share this place. He's always watching. Always watching. I don't think he likes Old Yeller. But he's got a brother or a cousin or something down here in the cedars. I filmed. This is Bruiser. He's kin to Dirty Dan some way or another, and he's comical in himself. Old Bruiser. Haven't seen him no more either. But back at the rock, old Dirty Dan's still making his bed. And this is the last picture I filmed of him. Around the 1st of October, middle. Last time I filmed him. He's going to take a nap. But he'll be out about the end of January, because he's got Groundhog Day to predict. So there's the groundhog. Well, next up, for this year's 2023 best, is old possum. There's plenty of them around here. And they usually come out at night, but I catch them during the day. You can see them moving around here on a wet day. And up on the ridge, they do move around during the day, but not very often. That's the old joker there. You can tell by his face. And there's old Sidewinder. He's a favorite. And there's old Chubby during the day at the Rock Motel. And at night, looks like old Chubby's kind of fussing with a coon over something. And there they are fighting amongst themselves. Somebody has to break it up. But they're usually just peaceful little animals. They just come and go like everything else does, trying to scratch out something to eat. And there's the old joker. You can tell by his face. And there's Sidewinder. Bless his heart. I don't know if he's handicapped. Well, we know he's handicapped, but I don't know if he's born that way or he had an accident when he was little. But this is what he does. He gets around awful well to be so crippled up. And he's only got one eye. And there's old Willie. He follows Willie around all the time. There's old Sidewinder again. And he goes and lives in the rock too. But he just has his back end broke down. He has a hard time. That looks like old Willie. There's so many little different animals here, and they got their own personalities. I just like to watch them live their life. And they like to get in this old bush here by the rock. You'd think they're playing in the bush, but they're not. They're getting bugs off of them, parasites. And they like to pack leaves too. Look here. There's old Willie packing leaves. Packing leaves, gathering leaves up. He takes them under the rock for bedding material. That must be a cave under there. That's all it can be. Because old Dirty Dan's under there. Skunks are under there. Possums is under there. Even seen the coons under there. So it has to open up into different little areas. And up on the ridge, old Willie moving through. But here's old Sidewinder. Seems to try to follow old Willie. Must be his brother, close kin, because he's always trying to run with him. Bless his heart, there he comes back. See, he's only got one eye. He's crippled up. Well, there is the coon. Next up is the coon. And they're the most mischievous, curious animal I've ever seen. Here they are picking for acorns. They do come out during the day too, especially in the spring when they got young and stuff. And here's one back in the winter, out in the day, cold. I don't know what he was doing out then. And down at the pond, they share with the other animals too. There's a little old young buck over there. And they live up on these den trees up on this ridge, these big old trees. And they come out of these den trees, go about their business every night. but every once in a while I'll catch a comical little picture. Oh, big Rocky, we call him Rocky here, climbing a tree. Comical picture. And the whole family comes out. I've counted as many as 7 coons. And they like to check on the cameras and say hi as they come through. But they like to get into the cameras too. Every once in a while they'll get a hold of it and pull them down. I won't find them for a few days later. But here's one, One-Eyed Jack I called him. This coon's only got one eye, bless his heart. And they all work together. They find a place the whole family comes in. This is at the Christmas party. They had a good time. And down at the pond, the most favorite place they got is the pond. And they come and go there all the time. But they like to play every once in a while, wrestle. I always catch them wrestling. Even at the rock, they just can't help themselves. They like to play. They're always into everything. There's Rocky, Rocky 2, Mr. and Mrs. Rocky, and they share with the other animals. But them and the fox is awful wary of each other. But they're always watching. So there you go. There's the best of the coons. Now the cutest little old animal in the woods is the skunk. And there's so many of them too. No 2 skunks are marked the same. That looks like old Stripe there, Flash. And they just forage for bugs and stuff. Beautiful little animals. And I try to name them, but there's so many different ones that it's hard to keep up with them. Old Stripe. That looks like Spike. Old Spike. And that looks like old Snowball moving through. A Snowball, Wishbone, Flat Top, Streak, Lightning. I've got so many names for different ones. You'll see them a while, then you won't. But they live at the rock too. But they ain't scared of these coons. They don't care. They'll back them down if they have to. That's old Flat Top there. Looks like Karl Marx, don't it? I ain't afraid of these coons now. They'll hold their own. They know they got something to fight with. But they get along. They just get stingy when the food gets scarce. It's like any other animal. But they'll just, little family. But like I said, no 2 skunks are marked the same. There's always something a little different about each one of them. So there you go. There's the precious little old skunks. And there's old Snowball. Almost solid white skunk. I think he's a spotted skunk. So there you go. There's the best of the skunks, the pictures I've got. Well, next up is the squirrels. They're the most relaxing and fun to watch in the woods, in my opinion. And first we'll start out with the little ground squirrels. We'll do all the little squirrels. These are the ground squirrels. They call them chipmunks too, but we call them ground squirrels here in the mountains. And they like to pack their stuff off to their hole. You can see their jaws full. And they had a fun time here at the Christmas party. They love these salty crackers. I mean, they absolutely loved them. What they couldn't eat, they packed back to the house. But they had a wonderful time, and ain't they pretty little things? Beautiful little animals. And the squirrels at night, the flying squirrels, they're nocturnal only. And they're quick as lightning, buddy. You see them and they're gone. And they're rare pictures to catch, because the only time they come out's at night. But I have got some pretty good pictures this year. Here's what I've got, some of the best. They're just a blur most of the time. They're beautiful little animals. And they are quick. Here's a close-up. About the size of a ground squirrel, but they can fly. Beautiful little animals. So that's the flying squirrel. But here's the big squirrels, the gray squirrels. There's no fox squirrels on this ridge, just gray squirrels. There's one in the wintertime. And they're always foraging around. Acorns, hickory nuts, walnuts. They have a good time all day long looking for these nuts. And they ain't happy unless they find them either. I've got so many pictures of these little squirrels. They're so precious. So stressful, so stress-free to watch them and relax. And they have fun too, with their friends. It's comical. I know you've all seen this. They'll chase each other around a tree for hours. And little Ricky here, what we call this one, he loves it here at the rock, his favorite little perch. I always got him something to eat here. He loves this little perch. He got him a walnut here. I've got so many pictures to choose from, hundreds and hundreds of pictures all year long. I watch him, he'll watch that nut. He's going to go get a nut, but he's going to make sure that one don't roll off. That's comical. And they're so precious. Just so relaxing to watch. And they're so comical to me. But they're natural born acrobats, I'm telling you. I just enjoy them so much. Well, there you go. There's the precious gray squirrel. So relaxing. Now, last but not least, alphabetical order, is the turkey. Now, this ridge is loaded with these turkeys, but sometimes you don't see them, and sometimes you do. But they're full in these woods. They big old flocks of them too. And they just work these woods, scratching for bugs, insects, larvae, grub. They like acorns too. But I've got so many pictures of them. This is just some I picked out for the year. Close-ups. They're a beautiful bird. And they can get big. Some of them weigh 30 pounds, I guess. Big old birds. Big old toms too. And they roost up on this ridge in these big trees. The coons are in the trees, and the turkeys up outside roosting on them. And they love the pond too. The under these leaves scratch all day long. That's just their nature. Like a bunch of big chickens to me. Beautiful birds. And I caught one here fanned out. That's the best I could catch this year. Big old Tom fanned out for these hens. Well, anyway, I made a little video here, a short while back, called the Turkey Trot. Maybe you like it, maybe you won't, but here it is. I thought that was just something a little comical to put out. Thought you would enjoy it. But anyway, there you go. There's the best of 2023. Oh, one more note. I have caught some weird stuff on these cameras over time. No, I haven't caught no Bigfoot yet. But you never know. But I have caught some strange lights and balls of lights and orbs. But the video is just too long. So here's a video that I made just for that earlier in the year called Trail Cam Anomalies. I'll put a link to it in the very end of this video. You just click on the picture of it and there you'll be. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. Like I said, during the year, 52 different weekly videos. I've got thousands of pictures of these, and I can't pick them all out, but it's just some of them, So I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you're not, if you like them, and hit your notification button so you'll get your weekly notifications when these come out every Monday, starting this year again, the wildlife video. So I want to thank you for watching. God bless every one of you, and hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.